What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Back again. World Cup wrap up number 4. It's been a big day of results, to say the least. Another massive surprise off the ranks. And we'll have a special guest joining in to chop it up and talk all things world game. I'll just wait for him to get in here, and we'll get this underway. There we go. Here he comes. Day 3 has thrown up some surprises. It's thrown up a big scoreline for the Spanish side, which I'm sure our guest will be happy about. Manuel, how are we?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for joining us. It's been a big day of results. I've been talking with you constantly about the World Cup over chat, going back and forth. You caught a few of the games over the past day.
Oh yeah. I've been watching all of them. The only ones I missed so far in live is Argentina yesterday and the Croatia this morning. But I record all of them and I watch them because they're at 5 a.m. for me.
Yeah, that's too early. That's too early. That's like me with the 3 a.m. fixture. I missed some of it. I did catch the first half of the Spanish game, and I was chatting to you about it. And they looked. We'll start there. They looked amazing, and I think you're a bit of a homer because you are part Spanish, so you want them to do well. But I think personally, I'm going to say I think I underestimated how good this side could potentially be. And I may have got my sleeper pick wrong, and that it should have actually been Spain as my sleeper pick and not Germany. Because I tell you what, we'll get to the German game, in a bit. But I watched the German game, and that was, they didn't look good. So Spanish side, what did you see from them, Manny?
On the Spanish side, all I could say is we were stressed. Everyone was talking about how we didn't have attackers, right? Like, who's going to score the goals? Everyone was saying it. We did play Costa Rica. They were one of the last teams in. Didn't they get, in through a qualifier?
Yeah, they scraped through. This is pretty bad. They scraped through by beating New Zealand in the qualifier. And I'll tell you what, New Zealand are absolutely shit. So that's no accomplishment, let me tell you that. But at the end of the day, you still went out there. I mean, I look at the game between France and Australia. That's a massive mismatch. And so is this game, Spain against Costa Rica. And so was supposed to be the mismatch against Argentina against Saudi Arabia. And I expected, all those teams to bang in goals. Obviously, we had France that, they banged in 4 against Australia. It's another thing to say that we expect them to bang in the goals. But to go out there and put 7 past Costa Rica, do what I expect a great side to do, which is to put the game to bed in the first half. Mm-hmm. Don't leave it to any doubt, because we've seen if you're one of the better sides and you don't put the game to bed in the first half, we've seen what happens. And it's happened to 2 teams already in Argentina and Germany, which we'll get to in a sec. 3 teams. There you go.
USA was dominant against Wales first half, and then they came back and tied it. They didn't lose, but they were dominant on the first half.
Yeah, but when you don't take your chances and get that second goal, you leave the team in it at 1-0. So, look, Costa Rica stink. They were my pick to finish bottom of the group. I think we all agreed on that when we did the podcast on Too Thicc. And Spain looked good. So, look, I'm slowly swaying towards that the Spanish train.
I like it.
And man, look, they look really, really, really good. We'll go to the other game in that group, and then we'll switch over to Group F. Germany versus Japan. Look, 1-0 half-time is always a dangerous scoreline. They allowed the Japanese to stay in the game by not finishing some chances that they had to go an extra goal up. And they were punished. I mean, you watch the game. It was a game of 2 halves. Typical game of football. Germany were absolutely dominant in the first half. Should have been another goal up. Left the door ajar. And Japan, just the samurai blue, came straight through.
They got lucky, too. They got a penalty to get their goal. And it was in the 33rd minute.
Yep.
And you called it. Japan is a good team. They're good at like chemistry with one another.
They're well organized, and they're
Yep.
very well organized, and they defend really well. And they've got players up front. This is what I tried to say to people. They've got players with quality up front that can take a chance. And that was what happened in this game. You know, the
Yep.
game turned around in the second half. They had 3 shots on target, Manny, for the whole game, I think it was. Hang on, I'm just trying to find the statistics here. They had total shots was 12, right? But I think they
4.
only had 3 on target, and 2 of them were goals.
Yep, they had 4 on target. They're
4
shooting
on target,
50% on target. My question to you is, where was Leroy Sané?
Look, there's some questions for that German side. There are some real questions. I mean, I think, you know, Sané probably should have played. You know, Bayern Munich starts Sané and Gnabry. They put Sané on the right, Gnabry on the left. You know, it gives them that option to cut in onto their preferred foot. They didn't play him. And I was sort of, you know, a bit, I was dumbfounded. I'm not going to lie. They didn't even bring him on as a substitute.
No,
man.
No. You know what was depressing about this game, to be honest? You had young stars. The young stars are actually producing in this World Cup. You had Gavi score. You had Jude Bellingham score. Musiala didn't do much. And I was expecting, I know it's game 1, but when you have these super young stars coming out and playing really well, even Pedri did really well in the midfield. I was expecting a little bit more for Musiala.
Yeah, look, he didn't have the best of games. I mean, there were some dangerous signs in the first half, but you know, he didn't have the best of games. He struggled to get going. But that was a lot of the, you know, German side. I mean, Havertz didn't have much of an impact. Thomas Muller up there didn't have much of an impact. You know, Gundogan was their best player, and you know was in my opinion, you know, was holding them together, especially out of that midfield. Kimmich was okay, but I mean, at the back, man, Rudiger, you know, for the player he is, he was making mistakes. You know, letting the ball bounce, that's defending 101. When the long ball comes in, you know, to the defense, in those centre backs, you don't let it bounce, because as soon as you let it bounce, it's danger game. You've got to clear that, right? You let it bounce, you got caught, they ended up scoring a goal, right? Mm-hmm. And then for the second goal, the winner, I mean, I don't know what the defender were doing. I think it was Ram at left back. It was a ball over the top, and he was sort of waiting for the attacker. Who was it? I want to get his name. Asano Doan, is the 71st minute. Doan to control the ball before he started bolting back. You can see it in the footage. He's like sort of just jogging back as the ball's coming over the top. Then once he realizes that he's controlled it and had a great first touch, right, and got the ball out in front of him, then he starts sprinting.
Yep.
He sprint when the ball's traveling through the air, you know, and they wouldn't have copped the goal. So, look, Germany, very, very, very poor. Japan, I mean, look, I'm going to say here right now, I mean, I told you so. I said Japan could cause some upsets in this group. Don't underestimate them. They're a well-organized side. They didn't show all their hand at once. You know, they didn't press really much in the first half. But then once they went that goal down, they started pressing. They started, you know, closing down Gundogan and Kimmich in midfield and not allowing them to boss the game like they did in the first half, and opened up the game.
Yeah. That leaves the Monday game. I think it's Monday. Tuesday, your time. Germany versus Spain, much like bigger for them. They have to beat Spain. They have to get points against Spain or they're done.
Yeah, I think that's Monday morning. Hang on, let me check here. I'm pretty sure that's Monday morning outside.
Because if they lose to Spain, Japan, I think is gonna beat Costa Rica. So they're pretty much in the can't lose position right now.
Yeah, they're looking good. And you know, it's Monday morning. Germany versus Spain, 6 a.m. Big game. I'll definitely be getting up for that one, Manny. You know, tuning in. It's thrown that group wide open. I'll tell you now, I'm leaning Spain finish first, Japan second. I think, you know, obviously Japan goes out there and beats Costa Rica. They are qualifying. That is that, right? And you know what we've seen from Costa Rica, they look like they they're really just there making up the numbers. If they play like they did against Spain, not close down guys in midfield and just give guys space, Japan's got that quality and they'll make them pay. So it's really bad for Germany. They've got to hope now that Costa Rica can get a result, at least get a win or a draw, and then it opens it up into the next game where it ends up being potentially Germany, Japan versus each other to qualify for the next round. Not Germany versus Japan. Germany will have to versus Costa Rica, and then Japan versus Spain. But you never know. If you get to that point and they've got such a good goal difference, does Spain.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
Maybe Spain does a little bit of a shifty, gets a draw with Japan, knocks out Germany out of the tournament because Japan will finish in second and they'll finish in first with the better goal difference. And, mate, we've seen it before. So things aren't looking good for Germany in Group E. We'll have to see what happens.
Spain put themselves in a great position with a 7-goal differential because they could technically lose to Germany, and like you said, then they could just sit back and draw with Japan and make it in.
They'll beat Japan. They should.
Yeah, but if they wanted to, I mean, they're in that position where they just need to get points, get 1 point here.
Yeah, that's true. All right, on to Group F. The first game was Morocco versus Croatia, 0-0 draw. So disappointing there. I did say that Morocco don't underestimate them. They've got some quality players, and both teams in this game had opportunities to win the game, weren't taken. Ends 0-0. A point for both countries is not that bad. Group F is still very much open. You've got Belgium who won against Canada, which we'll get to that in a second. But did you catch the game? You watched the replay?
I did.
What do you think?
Croatia looked old. I'm just gonna say they look. Remember we talked about it. They're very talented, but they're getting up there in age. We're talking, and we'll get into it. The other game, Belgium looked old as well. They both looked the same, like the same type of team. Croatia looked old. Morocco looked like they were more hungry to win. A lot of chances. It was a 0-0 tie, right? But it didn't seem like it. There was like so much action in this game. Who was the boring? There was one boring game the day before. Denmark was the boring. It was like a 0-0 tie, but that was boring to watch. This one, the highlights were actually like fun to watch. There's so much action, and I don't know. I think this, like you said, this group is all wide open. I think Morocco could win it too. Like how they played today, they got some talent.
Yeah, just have a look at some of these names. They got Boufal, they got Ziyech, they got Hakimi, they got Amrabat, which you may not know the name, but mate, he's played multiple seasons in the Premier League. I believe he used to play for Watford and some other teams, so he's played a lot of Premier League games. In the best competition in the world. So he's an experienced player. And then, off the bench, they've got some other guys coming off the bench that, bring on a bit of quality. Croatia bossed the ball, 65% of possession to 35%. You probably would have expected them to get a win in this game, but Morocco played well. They showed that they've got the flair to, win some games. And I'm telling you right now, look, we'll move on to the Belgium game, but it's no shoe-in for Belgium to beat Morocco or Croatia.
Nope.
I mean, Morocco's supposed to be the weaker of these two teams. They just got a result against Croatia. Mate, Morocco could go out there, and from what we actually seen in the Belgium game, the Belgium versus Canada, mate, Canada should have been multiple goals up at half-time, right? But they got caught with a sucker punch, 43rd minute. Missy Batshuayi ends up getting the goal. It was a great finish. It ends 1-0. That was the game. But up until that point, it was all Canada, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. The first half, I saw a meme. It was like someone just shooting threes and missing it, and that was Canada first half. They had 22 total shots today, 3 on target. It was so bad. They need someone to finish. They had the penalty kick, and I can't believe Alphonso Davies didn't score that. That was insane. I'm pissed at the goalie Courtois because he left Chelsea on a bad turn. I was hoping that he put it in so I could be like this, but then it was a nice save. It's kind of cool. This first couple days we've had 2 PKs that were like blocked, and they were like key penalties at the time. So the goalkeepers did their homework.
Two big players. Obviously, Alphonso Davies plays for one of the biggest clubs in the world, Bayern Munich, and then Lewandowski plays for Barcelona, and weren't able to get the job done. And that's what I mean. Canada should have got a result in this game. They had the penalty, missed the pen, and then even after that, they had chances to get a goal before they got sucker punched. In the 43rd, 44th minute, a goal, and then in the second half, Belgium sort of wanted to just grind out the result. Canada had a few more chances, but credit to Belgium, they ground out the result. They were able, to lock it in. I think, look, they still do have potentially Lukaku to come back later in the tournament. Hazard started, but he was okay, but he wasn't amazing. They've also, got some quality coming off the bench, Trossard and Torgan Hazard if you need to. It's good to see my boy Jeremy Doku got in the squad again as a youngster. I don't think he'll get any minutes again in this tournament, but obviously the Belgian coach rates him. They're ranked number 2 in the world. They did not play like the number 2 ranked nation in the world. I'll tell you that.
Not at all.
They did not play like that. All right, Manny. That leaves that group wide open. It's Belgium on top with 3 points. So, credit to them. They're probably most likely going to qualify now. And then it's up to Croatia and Morocco. I mean, Canada can still qualify. I understand that. But the draw in the other game, Croatia-Morocco, helps them out. Canada will have to win their next game, which is against...
They got to win both those games because they have a point.
Against Croatia?
Yeah, they have to beat Croatia and Morocco because they both have a point on them. So if they lose to any one of them, that's 4 points to the other team.
Yeah, fair point. All right, Manny. We will look ahead to today's games. The first game off the rank, Switzerland versus Cameroon in Group G. What do you think? Who wins?
I'm excited to see Switzerland. I think it's going to be one of those 0-0 draws with these two teams, to be honest with you. Switzerland's a good team, but Cameroon is a sneaky pick to cause some problems in this group, especially with Switzerland. I have a good feeling. Well, I think they're going to take 4th, but it's going to be tough.
I will just throw out one name out there who's having an absolutely amazing season for his club side, Bayern Munich, and that's Choupo-Moting. He's absolutely dominating, and he's up top for Cameroon. So, he's one definitely to look out for. They'll have to, keep close eye on him. Other than that, I mean, I don't really know too much of the names that stick out. On the Switzerland side, you've got Xhaka in midfield. You've got Xherdan Shaqiri, who's going to play Mbolo up front. So a bit of quality. Switzerland is favoured by the bookies. I could see this finishing in a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, and, I think it's not going to be all Switzerland's favour. The bookies actually have Switzerland, favoured to qualify out of this group over the other 2 teams in Serbia and Cameroon, and obviously Brazil's in there, so they're clear top favourites. I've got Switzerland 1-1. I mean, I've got a draw 1-1.
I got a draw 0-0, and I think Cameroon's going to play how they play defensive and try to get counters. I think they're going to do that. They're going to play defensive and try to get some counters. So that's why I have 0-0, because I don't see a lot of shots on one end of the thing. I think it's just going to be more defensive and not allow a goal.
All right. Well, they need a result, and if they get a draw, that's going to be very, very solid for them. And it's going to be tough against the other teams in the group. We've got the next game is in Group H, which is Uruguay versus South Korea.
I got 3-1 Uruguay.
Oh, yeah, they've got a strong side. Obviously, South Korea has Son up front. Uruguay has Suarez, Nunes, Cavani, Bentancur, Valverde. I mean, just listen to these names. Godin at the back. It's just crazy. So, yeah, they've got Son, and then other than Son, I think they've got, no one else that really sticks out.
That's why I said 3-1. Son will bag a goal.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Uruguay 2-0, and I think South Korea may struggle to score, albeit maybe Son does something special off his boot, but it's a lot of pressure for a player to have the whole weight of his nation on his shoulders. So I'm gonna go 2-0 Uruguay. All right, the next game and second last game of day 4 is Portugal against Ghana in Group H. Who you got?
4-0 Portugal. Rafael Leao scores 2 goals.
I like it. Yeah, I'm going Portugal. I think Ghana probably struggle to score. They've got, their team's not bad. They got Amadi at the back who plays for Leicester City. They got Partey who plays for Arsenal in the midfield. Then they got the AU brothers who, Jordan AU I think still plays for Crystal Palace. And AU, the other AU brother who used to play for Swansea when they were in the Premier League back in the day, but he now plays at a lower league. And he's getting older. And then you got Williams up front, who I believe is from La Liga. He plays in La Liga. Yeah, he does. He plays in La Liga for Athletic Club. So he's not a bad striking option up there. But I think Portugal will be too good. And yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 Portugal.
You think Ronaldo plays a full...
Yeah. Ronaldo starts. Ronaldo, it'll be the predicted lineup they've got here on this website I'm looking at is Leao on the left, Ronaldo through the middle, and Bernardo Silva on the right with Fernandes, Carvalho, and Neves in midfielder. That's the predicted lineup that they've gone with. So, yeah, I think he definitely does get the start for sure.
Okay.
All right, last game, and that is Brazil versus Serbia. I'll keep it quick. I think Brazil wins 3-1. I think maybe Serbia's got enough quality to get a goal. But I think Brazil goes out there in this first game and doesn't make the same mistake that Argentina did, and gets off to a good start.
Same. I think Brazil wins. I think it's 3-2. I think Serbia has that striking power to keep it close. I think it's going to be 2-2 most of the game, and I think Neymar might, one of these strikers are going to have to take over the game in the late game and win. And I just think Serbia is going to come out of this group. They're very underrated. And Brazil's the number 1 team, so they're going to have them really dominating. I don't think it's going to be that domination that what you think.
Interesting. I think they're going to qualify from this group pretty easily. But Vlahovic up front, you got Tadic in behind him. You got Milinkovic, Savic in the midfield. So a good, strong core. Tadic, who formerly played for, I think, Southampton in the Premier League. I think now he plays his club football out at Ajax. And he's absolutely dominating there, and they're in Champions League and everything. So, he has big game experience. And then on the other side, just go look at this Brazilian squad. The names on it are just ridiculous. I mean, the predicted lineup they got here is Vinicius Jr., Neymar, Rafinha, and then Richarlison leading the line. I probably would take out Richarlison and put Gabriel Jesus leading the line, but that's just me personally. And then the centre backs, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva. You got Alisson Becker from Liverpool in goal. It's just stacked. Casemiro in midfield. It's just stacked. It's ridiculous. And then you go to the bench, and it's just even more stacked. I'm gonna go 3-1 Brazil. I think Serbia's good enough to get a goal, and that's where I see the results. All right, Manny, that is day 3 wrap up done, and look ahead to day 4 games. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Till next time, we'll definitely have you on again. I'm sure by the end of the World Cup. We'll see you next time, ladies and gents. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports, double coverage.